संसार समुद्रताय नौकायिताभ्यां गुरुभक्तिदाभ्यां वैराग्यसम्राजनं पूजनाभ्यां नमो नमः। श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। जगदम्बिका दुर्गा माता की जय। Sitaram devotees, and welcome to today's edition of the program Guru Vahini, a program produced and sponsored by the Sri Parameshwari Durga Devi Ashram Incorporated. We are located at California Drive, Savannah Heights, Charleville in Chaguanas, Trinidad, West Indies. This program is designed as an interactive program. So feel free to contact us via WhatsApp with your questions pertaining to today's topic of discussion. You can get in touch with us at 1-868-743-5145. That number again, 1-868-743-5145. So you can WhatsApp us your question, interact with us. Those of you who are viewing us on Facebook, like and share our video. On YouTube, subscribe to our channel, like and share our videos. Visit us online at www.shridurgamata.org. So we say special welcome to all devotees from all parts of the world. From those of you who are joining us from North America, from Europe, from Asia, from Argentina, the South American continent, we say welcome to today's edition of Guru Vahini. We do appreciate the time and effort you take to spend with us in discussing topics pertinent to the development of Sanatana Dharma. Today we will continue with our topic on Vedic astrology as it pertains to the Grahas. Before we go into the depths of the discussion though, let us clasp our hands together, close our eyes, bow our heads. Let us pay obeisance to Bhagwan Ganapati, he who is the giver of success, the remover of all obstacles, and is always first and foremost among the host of the devotees. We seek the blessings of Devi Saraswati, through whose grace our intelligence are open, and we are able to assimilate the knowledge that is imparted. We pay bow in reverence to the lotus-like feet of our Guru, he who is the link between humanity and divinity, the ambassadors of God upon the face of the earth, he who removes darkness in the form of ignorance from the mind. Nityan Dhyayanti Yogina Kamara Moksharam Chaiva Omkaraya Namo Namaha. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samam Pratva Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaye Shu Sarvara Saraswati Mahabhage Vidya Kamala Virochani Vidyarupe Vishalakshe Vidyadehi Namostute. Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om Brahma Murari Tripurantakani Bhano Shashi Bhumi Suto Bhrascha Guruscha Shukraha Shani Rahu Ketu Graha Shanti Karavantu Om Bhurbhuvasvaha Tat Saviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimai Dhyo Yona Prachodayat. Principal Jagadambika Mata Ki Jai. So all devotees, again, welcome to today's edition of the program Guru Vahini. This program is produced and sponsored by the Sri Parameshwari Durga Devi Ashram, and it is geared towards self-development as well as to exchange ideas on topics pertinent to the development of Sanatana Dharma. For the last edition of this program, we have started looking at Vedic astrology, and we have discussed the Grahas, 7 of the 9 Grahas. Today we will conclude looking at the Graha itself, and then we look at the manner in which these Grahas influence us. So just to briefly recap, we see that the science of Vedic astrology deals with the influence of the interstellar bodies upon life upon Earth. We also see the difference between a graha and a planet. A graha is a living force. We saw where the origin of Vedic astrology came from, and it came from Lord Brahma to the Rishi Parasar Muni and Bhrigu Rishi. And from these two Maharishis, it flourished upon earth. So we have covered the grahas of Surya or the sun, Chandrama, the moon, Mangal or Mars, Buddha or Mercury, Brihaspati or Jupiter, Shukra or Venus, Shani or Saturn. Today we are going to look at the graha Rahu and Ketu. And we will see this is a unique concept in Vedic astrology. In the Western world, it is referred to as the ascending and descending node of the moon. So let us go to our scripture or Vishnu Puran and see the origin of Rahu and Ketu. And in a brief synopsis, Rahu and Ketu, at one point in time, they were one being, a demon by the name of Swayambhanu. And after the churning of the ocean, when the Amrit came forth, the demons had stolen the Amrit, breaking the pact they had with the Devtas. They stole the Amrit and was keeping it for themselves. Lord Vishnu intervened by taking the form of Mohini, and under the influence of the Maya made by Mohini, the Devtas and the Asuras, they were made to separate positions. While the Amrit was being given to the Devtas, the alcohol was being given to the demons. Swayambhanu recognized what was happening, and so he disguised himself as a Devta and sat between Chandrama and Surya, the sun and the moon. Having poured Amrit into the mouth of Swayambhanu, Mohini was made aware of this by Chandrama, Surya and Chandrama, and using the Sudarshan Chakra, Bhagwan Vishnu, the form Mohini, cut the head of Swayambhanu. But because Amrit had touched his head, he attained the status of immortality. And so Bhagwan Shiva, he intervenes and says, O Devtas, from today onwards, Swayambhanu has become, the head has become Rahu, and the body will become Ketu. And they will therefore represent, they will take the place among the Nava Grahas. So the Nava Grahas, these Rahu and Ketu, while the Katha from Vishnu Puran tells us of the origin of Rahu and Ketu, science is telling us that there is an ecliptic in the heavens. And when the ascending node of the moon along that ecliptic is called Rahu, and the descending node of the moon is called Ketu. So Rahu and Ketu can be measured by mathematical instruments. They are not physical bodies like how the sun and the moon and the other planets such as Jupiter and Saturn and Venus are. They don't possess physical mass. However, they do possess magnetic energy. You can use scientific equipment like what they would mount on the Hubble Space Telescope as well as other satellites, and they are able to accurately calculate the position of Rahu and Ketu. That is why for hundreds of years, the Mayans, they were able to accurately calculate when an eclipse of the sun or when an eclipse of the moon was supposed to take place. Even our ancient Vedic astrologers, we are able to calculate way in advance, years in advance, how many eclipses of the sun and how many eclipses of the moon there will be in a given year, and when these eclipses will occur, and what time they could occur, and which geographic location those eclipses will affect. So we are able to do this because it obeys the laws of physics. So while the Rahu and Ketu don't have physical mass, they possess energy and magnetism, which can be measured via scientific instruments. So let us look at Rahu. Rahu is expansive. Rahu deals with the ego. When Rahu and Ketu, they don't own any houses of the zodiac, but wherever they are placed in, wherever Rahu is placed in that horoscope, it destroys the signification of that home unless he is well positioned. That is, where Rahu is, he is aspected by beneficial planets such as Brihaspati or Shukra. If Rahu is in the company of malefic planets, it destroys the signification of that home. For example, if Rahu is placed in your Lagna, then that person is going to be a very egoistic person, very self-centered person. If Rahu is placed in the second house, which deals with the mouth, then Rahu is going to interfere with your speech in one of the two ways. Either cause speech development, or you are going to be very abusive in your language, using a lot of dirty, obscene words when you communicate. Also, Rahu places in certain, like for example, if Rahu is placed in the ninth house, then we see somebody abandoning their home, that is their place of birth, and going to a foreign country to live. If Rahu is placed in the seventh house, you're going to have either trouble in marriage or you are going to be married outside of your race. So all of these things we can deduce from by looking at Rahu's position. He deals with the ego and he expands what I say, he inflates the ego. If he's placed in the path of the horoscope that deals with money, he expands your cravings for money. That doesn't mean to say your horoscope will allow you to have what you crave. So Rahu deals with a lot of materialistic things. The person becomes very egocentric, very materialistic. Rahu also deals with your ambition, your drive to get things done. When Rahu is well placed, he becomes a great humanitarian, a great giver. But when he is malefic, then he becomes very egoistic and take a lot in order to highlight your opulence. So Rahu may not be physical, he does not own any sign of the zodiac. So wherever he is, he absorbs the energy of that position, and in so doing weakens it, or we say it destroys that. So Rahu is in the fourth house, interferes with the relationship with your mother or your mentality, your emotions, and so on. Rahu, however, just like the other grahas, they have things they preside over. Rahu also has things to reside on. For example, Rahu's day is Saturday. His color is also black. His birthstone is go made. The metal on which go made is set upon is silver. The color of Rahu is black. The day of the week is Saturday. The direction is northwest. The Ishdevta that resides, the deity that resides over Rahu is Bhairava. That is why when Rahu is not too good in your horoscope, you worship Bhairava a lot. You can also worship Durga Mata a lot, especially if Rahu gets the ability to inflict death. Then you worship Durga Mata a lot also. Of course, we cannot take this up on your own. You must consult your guru. Once your guru is a qualified Vedic astrologer, he will recommend certain procedures for you to follow and undertake where you can mitigate the malefic influence of Rahu. Ketu, on the other hand, is the opposite of Rahu. Rahu and Ketu are never together. They are always 180 degrees apart from each other, directly opposite to each other. Say Rahu is in the first house, Ketu is in the seventh house. So the Rahu and Ketu are never together. Ketu represents a diminished, he is contracted in nature. Rahu is expansive, Ketu is contracted. Wherever Ketu is placed, he is malefic just like Rahu, but he also destroys that place where he is placed. Just like Rahu, under certain conditions he is good, Ketu under certain conditions is also good. Ketu is very good in the first house for a spiritual life, but not for a material life. You suffer ill health. Ketu is very good in the ninth house, where he will give you high morals and high spirituality. And if Ketu is placed in the 12th house, he's the moksha karaka. You have the ability to make this life your very last. You can get moksha. Actually, one of the hallmarks of an avatar, when he comes, Ketu must be well placed in his horoscope. Ketu in the first house, he gives you a lot of spiritual well-being, gives you the ability to connect with the psychic world. But in certain way, he takes from your physical health because your Lagna, your first house, also deals with the health of the body. So Ketu is contracted in nature. He's malefic just like Rahu. He deals with trauma, sudden trauma that you will hardly recover from. So things like gunshots, injury from weapons, from fire, getting sick as a result of things like the plague. For example, this coronavirus we are going through right now, the global pandemic. This is Ketu demonstrating his power. It is brought about by the influence of Ketu being positioned in the galactic center. So therefore, we have an outbreak of a global pandemic. So Ketu deals with trauma, it deals with epidemics, it deals with unusual sicknesses, diseases. It deals with attacks from the spiritual world. So you'll be prone to sickness and disease brought about by demons and spirits and so on. Just like Rahu, Ketu has no physical form, but he has certain features. So Ketu's day is also Saturday. His color is grey. The metal for Ketu can be gold or silver, and the gemstone for Ketu is cat's eye. Not the gemstone name is cat's eye. Okay? Or tiger eye stone as we will call it in Trinidad. Also, the deity that resides over Ketu is Bhagwan Ganapati. So because Ketu brings a lot of obstacles in physical life, Bhagwan Ganesh, who is known as Umra Ketu, controls the energy of Ketu. That's why Ketu is also great. Mumra means great. Ganesh has a form that is known as Mumra Ketu, which will appear in towards the ending of this Kali Yuga. And that will be the form that will mitigate the malign influence of Ketu and the demons that is so powered by him. So these are the now grahas. You have Surya, Chandrama, Mangal, Bud, Brihaspati, Shukra, Shani, Rahu, and Ketu. Seven of them have a physical mass and they have energy. Two of them, Rahu and Ketu, do not have a physical mass, but they possess energy. That is why in books pertaining to Vedic astrology, Rahu and Ketu are referred to as Chaya grahas. Chaya means shadowy planets. They are not real from a physical point of view, but they are there and you can use scientific equipment to measure exactly where Shani is going to be, exactly where Rahu is going to be at any given point in time. If you have an ephemeris, your ephemeris will give you the true the points where the nodes, the ascending node and the descending node of the moon will be located. So these are the Navagrahas and how they impact in a basic way to us. Now, how do these grahas get their power to influence us? And how does a graha influence us? A graha can only influence us according to the nature of our karma. So, in other words, the karma, our own karma, the grahas act upon our own karma, the karma we are born with, the karma that we are coming into this world with, the karma pal. In order for us to receive the fruits of our karma we came into the world, the grahas have to influence us according to the nature of that karma, not overboard and not too little, not too much and too little, but according to the nature of that karma. And once you are alive, you are constantly under the influence of a graha. Not all 9 planets are going to give you the same degree of influence at any one point in time. Their energies will fall upon the face of all 9 grahas, their energies will fall upon the earth and upon you at any given time, but some will have a more dominant effect than others. And how do we know that? A Vedic astrologer will now look at and see when are you going to go through your Mahadasa, your Antaradasa, and your Antarpatradasa, your Sukshmadasa, and so on. And through Gochar transit, through your dasas, you can see how the planets, the grahas, their energies can be manipulated and how it can be influenced, how it can influence you. So when you're going through a good period of time, you are under the influence of grahas that are giving you the fruits of your good karma. People don't take this on too much because life good, everything going good, they don't need to go to party, they don't feel the need to do everything, anything at all. But this is the biggest mistake. When things are going good, that's the time you increase your devotion. Because when bad times come and your mind gets agitated, you cannot focus on God consciousness. When things are good, that is the time to do your yajnas, to do your rites and rituals in a celebratory type way, giving thanks to God. So when the bad time comes and things really get tough, the blessings from those things will cushion you. We pay attention to when we are receiving the pal, the karma pal, or the fruits of our bad karma. Then you just go by Baba and say, Baba, see, I'm going to a graph. So Baba will open the patra and tell you either you are under the influence of Shani Graha or you are under the influence of Mangal Graha. You have to do this Grah Puja, you have to do that Grah Puja. And then some people will ask, and this is a lack of knowledge, both on the part of the Shishya and of the Pandit himself. Sad to say, not all Pandits in Trinidad are qualified Vedic astrologer. So they'll tell you, you have 3 graha in your lifetime, 4 graha in your lifetime, but every single day you're influenced by all the 9 grahas. And once you go through the Mahadasa, the Antaradasa, and the Patradasa, you have the fluctuation in the dominant energies. So you are constant. Once you are aligned, go to Bhagavad Puran and it tell you when the Jivatma is about to take place. Before Mahamaya takes over, what happens? Your Ishdevata appears and gives you and escorts you to the world. And with your first breath of air, the doctor has raised their hands and bless you and say, may you receive your karma power. And then that first breath of air, Maya takes over and you're able to forget your past lives. This is according to Bhagavad Puran what happens. Once the Navagraha blesses you, it's just a matter of timing. So if at age 30 you start Shani Mahadasa, for the next 19 years, Shani Mahadasa will be ruling. If at the age of 5, you start Rahu Mahadasa, for the next 18 years, you'll be going through Rahu Mahadasa. Now the Mahadasas get modified according to the Antaradasa, and that get modified according to the Antapatradasa. So when you hear big numbers like 18 years and 20 years and 19 years, and they say, what Nava then? But with the, not all of the Mahadasa will be good, and not all of them will be bad. It gets modified. And depending on the conditions of your birth, that is why you date of birth, and the time of birth, and for those of you who are outside of Trinidad, the place of birth is very important when you're casting the Rasi Kundalini, the horoscope. So a qualified Vedic astrologer will be able to determine whether you're going through good Mahadasa period, good Antardasa period, good Antapatradasa period, and that mingled with the Gochar transit. You look at the Veda and the Converse Veda, for the planets, especially the key planets, such as the Dasa planet, the Antardasa planet. You look at the Ashtaka Varga of these Dasa planet, Antardasa planet, and so on. And they are a detailed horoscope. So when you approach your Pundit, who is ideally supposed to be a qualified Vedic astrologer, because all our rites and rituals, as we see in another segment of this program, is based, the timing of it is based on proper astrological calculation. And we look at excerpts from scripture where it had to be so. So with personal reference to you, you need your date of birth, you need your time of birth, and you need your place of birth. Especially if you're born in a country with multiple time zones. Then if you're born in a temperate country, we need to know if the time recorded is your daylight saving time or your actual time. So all of these things we have to be aware of. A qualified Vedic astrologer takes these things into consideration. So your graha, once you are born till the day you die, the grahas constantly influence you. Not all of it is good, at the same time, not all of it is bad. So what happens when Baba tells you have a graha? That means you are receiving the results of your bad karma. And Bhagavan is so merciful. Lord Vishnu is so merciful. He designed a puja and he taught it to Nada Puri and the other rishis that even though you perform bad actions and the grahas, who are the enforcers of the laws of God, are giving you the result of those bad actions that you have performed. Lord Brahma made a declaration in this Parasa Buddha Sastra that, O grahas, he who worship you, you must be merciful unto them. And so there is where the concept of the graha puja comes. So if you're going to Shani Graha, we go through the scripture and we see those things that Shani Dev appeases Shani Dev, things like your mustard oil, like your kurubi dal, like your black till, like your clothes, like your black color clothes or cloth offering, like your black color flag, your mustard oil, and so on. And when we do in the Graha Puja, we incorporate these offerings. If it is Shani Graha, if it's some other Graha, we see the malefic nature of that particular planet. If it is Venus, if it is Jupiter, if it is Mars, if it is the Sun, and pick out the things unique to those that conducts the energy of that. And we use it as part of our puja to appease the Graha. So how does this Graha work, puja work now? It is quite scientific. Man body, our body, is a plan. It is a miniature version of the Mahakala Purusha. Other scriptures, other faiths tell you God has made man in his own image and likeness. And this is one common ground Vedic tradition also agrees upon. That man, the human form, that is why in Ramayana they say the human form is the most precious form. Everything that is out there in the macrocosm is within us in the microcosm. We are a small version or a microcosm of the vast universe, the macrocosm. That is why when Bhagavan Shri Krishna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he showed Arjuna the Virat Swarup. Arjuna was seeing multiple, infinite number of hands and heads and so on, forms that he didn't even know exist. But all of that came down to one basic form. That is the form of the Purusha, the man. So within our astral body, there are the chakras, there are the nadis, the energy centers. There is the devatas also reside in different parts of the body. So does the graha. So what happens when you are going through a graha period, a bad period of time, which means that the energy that your body is transmitting is not in harmony with what the cosmos is transmitting. So because of you and the cosmos is not in harmony, there's a distortion taking place. And what happens when distortion takes place? Let's use your TV for example. If you're not receiving proper reception, you're going to have a lot of distortion, a lot of dazzling and so on, right? So that is what is happening. So what the Graha Puja does, it fine-tunes you, the individual, because it is impossible to one fine-tune the macrocosm. So just as how if you are not getting proper reception in the TV, you do not go to television house, the TV station, and move that from where it is. You move the antenna on your TV at home, the small receiver, which is the antenna. So too, you are your body is absorbing energy as well as transmitting energy. So if you are absorbing a particular frequency of energy, but you're transmitting a totally different frequency, it's going to be a destructive interference. Student of physics, you know about constructive interference and destructive interference, right? So you will have that break in transmission there. So the Graha Puja, it fine-tunes the Shani within you or the Grahas within you to be in harmony with the energy the Grahas in the macrocosm transmit. And once you are in harmony with that, through the medium of pujas, through the medium of breath, through the medium of certain mantras, mantras are energy packs. That is why a prayer can be said in any language. A prayer is what comes from the heart addressing God. And you can pray in any language. But once something is called a mantra, it must be only said in Sanskrit. Because when you change the Sanskrit, you are interfering with the mita, which is the method of chanting or the rhythm of which the energy emanates from the mantra. And once that rhythm gets changed, the frequency and the wavelength of the energy of that mantra also changes. So that is why when you do the graha, when you do the appropriate jap, with the appropriate graha, you say Shanti in the mantra, but what you're running is fine-tuning the energy that your body is emanating to be in harmony with the energy the heavens is emanating. And once that harmony exists, then you can progress. Then you can be peaceful. Then you can be ambitious. Then you can go about achieving your greatness and your success. But once the microcosm, the Purusha, is not in harmony with the Mahapurusha, you cannot achieve anything. Because the destructive interference between the two energies will just be canceling one another. So all the effort will be going in vain. So there's no secret, there's no magic how a Graha Puja works. It is very scientific. That is why you have to be very careful when you're doing Graha Puja. You shanty the wrong planet, you will put the person in trouble. You must know which Graha that is giving trouble and you shanty or remedy that accordingly. So this is how your Graha Puja works. This is how the Grahas affect you. And like I told you, from the moment you are born to the moment you die, you are constantly under the influence of a Graha. And everything we do, whether it's auspicious or inauspicious, energies surround it. And our Shastras tells us the energies that are present at the time of birth of an object, it carries that energy throughout its lifetime. So if you are born in an auspicious period of time, generally that auspiciousness goes with you. If you're born in an inauspicious time and you do not perform the appropriate remedial rites and rituals, you will be growing up facing an uphill struggle, facing untold traumas and difficulties. Let us use a very famous example. We all know about Goswami Sant Tulsidas. Tulsidas Ji, the author of the Ram Charitramanas, was born in a highly inauspicious period of time. He was born under what we call a Bhukta moon. And some of you will be familiar with this because you will know when you have a child born under a Bhukta moon, the father cannot see the child until certain remedial rites and rituals are performed. And if the rules pertaining to a Bhukta moon is not obeyed, somebody is going to die. Either the mother die, the father die, or the child die, or everybody die. In the case of Tulsidas, he was not supposed to have a mother. His father abandoned him. When his father, Akmaram, learned that his son was born under Bhukta, he abandoned him. His mother, she died. The caretaker, the woman who took him up as an orphan and was bringing him up like a mother, she brought to milk the cow to get milk for him and a snake bite and she died. And so he was again an orphan until the Guru intervened. Nar Haridas Baba intervened and seeing the potential in Tulsi, he takes him to the ashram with the power of the qualified Guru. And he takes that child that was destined to suffering and brought him up as a devotee of the Bhagwan Sri Ram. So this is just a famous example of a person being born in a very bad period of time. This is how much suffering he had to go through during his early years. So too, if you are born, that is why when your children is born, the first thing you do is go and celebrate Shakti and Bharani. You get the child, date the birth, time of birth, and they go by a Pundit. You sit down with the Pundit and they'll say, Baba, come to get me, because that's most likely what you'll get alone. You get the appropriate Rasi name, and how the Rasi name is given. The Charan, the moon is at the time of the birth, becomes the Charan, that is the cosmic sound. It's a sound of vibration. Each Rasi has a certain number of nakshatras, and each nakshatra is broken up into 4 parts. Each part is called a Charan. And where the moon is at the time of the first birth, that nakshatra, that Charan, that moon is located in, that becomes the energy vibration by which your Rasi name must start with. So, for example, if the moon is in Shatabisha Nakshatra and it's in the Charan that is Go, then the child name can be Govinda. That is just one example. That is how you get your Rasi name. So it's a charan the moon is located in at the time of your birth, or if you want to use very technical Vedic astrological term, where the moon is in the Navamsa, the moon is located in at the time of birth, that becomes your ras, the energy vibration to start your rasi name. So your rasi name is something that is calculated based on your date of birth, time of birth, and place of birth. That is why in Dharma, a child can, so 10 children can born in one day, and each one of them at different times, and each one of them will have a different horoscope, telling you each one of them will have a totally different personality. If you go with the Western concept, within 1 month, everybody born within a particular month have to be of a particular horoscope. So what you will have in 1 year, you can only have 12 variety of people existing on the face of the earth. And we don't see that in reality. What Vedic astrology does, every moment in time, where that moon is, and depending on the nakshatra, the tithi, and the yoga, the karan, and so on, of the given day, all of that influence your personality. So each individual will have their own unique personality traits based on your date of birth and time of birth. So you can be born on the same day, but you will have strikingly different horoscope. So if somebody born 6 o'clock in the morning, somebody born 8 o'clock in the morning, somebody born 10 o'clock in the morning, somebody born 4 o'clock in the evening, each one of these babies are going to have a totally different horoscope. And this is what we do in Vedic astrology, where we use a subdivisional chart, like the Navamsa chart, the Chaturvimsamsa chart, to separate the seconds. So, for example, if you have twins being born, which in some cases just a few minutes apart, you are still able to use the smaller charts to get to separate the horoscope and get the unique characteristics and unique traits unique to that baby. Of course, only a Vedic astrologer can do this. This is not something where some old man just flip open the page of a book and watch and tell you do this, do that, and the other. It involves a lot of complex mathematical calculation. So do not, and again, appeal to devotees, do not be fooled by the Indian expo astrologers. They are businessmen. Some of them are not even qualified practicing pundits or astrologers in their native country. They are con men here in the Caribbean. So when you go to the Indian Expo astrologer and he calls the price $4,000 and $7,000, some of you are just so smart you take up your hard cash and give it to them. Why? Because you believe what comes from India better than what we have here in Trinidad. And this time it's a con artist ripping you off of your hard cash. But who knows? Maybe that was really your problem in the beginning. So he take the problem away from you. So the guy is fulfilling a purpose too. Don't get catch in that trap. So this is how Vedic astrology works. This is the now Grahas, and this is the importance of your date of birth and your time of birth, and we look at the characteristics of the planets. In another episode, we are going to look at what we call, in English, we say electional astrology, or what we say in Sanskrit, Mahurat astrology. And this Mahurat astrology deals with things like how we go about and how important it is to get a good day to start, for example, a building, to buy a car, to start education, and to do certain samskars like the Janeo samskar, the first cutting of your child hair, those kind of things. we are going to look at Mahurat astrology as it pertains to those type of everyday practices which we ought to be doing. And we'll see the consequence of not doing things in the proper time, how we create trouble for ourselves. So at this point in time, we'll have some relevant questions pertaining to today's topic of discussion.
Okay, our first question. In the previous episode, we saw where certain grahas is aligned to the planets in the stratosphere. But we did not hear anything about Earth and Pluto. Do they as well affect the individual?
Planet Earth, you can map planet Earth in your Rasi Kundalini, yes, but it doesn't, Mother Earth does not affect you the way a Graha affects you. Once you're born on Earth, Earth is what we call a path of fortune. So Mother always does good for you. She will never give you bad results. She represents your grounding. The other planets, the outer planets of our solar system, like Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, they are not used in your Rasi Kundalini, in traditional Rasi Kundalini. I see now in modern Vedic astrology, they are being included. But in Parasar, Pura Sastra, and Rigu Samhita, they are not included in predictive astrology. That is everyday predictive astrology. They are used to calculate the cycling of big periods of time. Like they are used to calculate when a millennium will start and end, when a eon will start and end, when a yuga will start and end, and so on. Okay, so they do have their place in Vedic astrology, but the traditional Vedic astrologer don't use them in predictive, daily predictive astrology. They use a bigger calculation when they deal with bigger spans of time.
You spoke about certain specific days and times depending on your astrology, which to start business or anything important in your life. If that is not thought or you don't have those calculations and you start anything important, is there any way to correct it at some point in time later on?
Okay, so next week we'll look at that question in much more detail. But to tell you upfront in a brief summary, sometimes it may be able to perform certain remedial rites and rituals, sometimes it is not, depending on what the activity is. Okay, there may be some tutkas, like for example, one of the most common errors that happens, people get a good deal with a car and reacting spontaneously or impulsively. They make a down payment for the car and then they realize, hey, I didn't talk to Baba yet. And they don't bring the car home and don't drive with it. But then afterwards, then they go on, you consult Baba, I want to buy a new car. Or I don't buy a new car. Is it good? Is it the color good? Is the date good? You already did it. There's nothing significant to be done here. If the energies were good, it would be okay. But if it was bad, chances are some remedial ritual will have to be performed. In the case of this particular example, there's a tutka where you can sell the car back out to someone and ritualistically you can purchase it back on an auspicious time. So sometimes that can happen, or there are other occasions where you just have to accept the outcome of it. For example, marriage is one. If you married in a bad time, you can't fix that. You just have to accept the outcome of what the consequences of being married in a bad time.
We've also seen that the Nava is associated with, and I had asked this on a previous occasion, they're associated with different animals. And one of the ways by which we can classify the effects of the grahas is by feeding the animals. Can you give us like a brief summary of what it does, one, and two? There are people who habitually would feed animals without having a reason to. Would that as well classify the grahas in any sort of way?
Good karma, whether you do it knowingly or unknowingly, will have its effect. Just as bad karma, whether you're doing it knowingly or unknowingly, will also have its effect. Let us use an analogy. A child who don't know what fire is, puts his hand in fire, will unknowingly get burned. So the actions that you perform, knowingly or unknowingly, will have its reaction. So by feeding animals, even as a hobby or just for some form of pleasure, nothing to do with anything spiritual, will also have its good consequences. Once you perform seva, you will receive the benefits of performing that seva. Now, the different grahas, they are aligned to certain um, animals, and these animals they tend to be more favored by those particular grahas. When you take care of those animals, if that graha is malefic, it tends to shanti the graha a little bit. So, for example, if you're going through Shani graha, Shani tends to like blackbirds a lot. So, by feeding blackbirds and so on, helps you. If you're going through Ketu grahas or Venus grahas, taking care of fish will help you also a lot. If you're going through Shani, also feeding dogs, black dogs also help. Surya, if you take care of horses, and so on. So all the grahas, they have their specific animals. Um, when you render seva to these animals, you're not only generating good karma, but you're also shanting whatever negative influence you may suffer as a result of these grahas, which may be in bad positions in your horoscope.
Okay, so you spoke about the Rasi name of an individual and the process by which that is done. Now, we've grown up in a tradition where the older people would say that that's a name that's supposed to be very sacred and should not be publicized in any way. Could you shed some light on that as well?
Okay, so Rasi name, like it is an energy, the energy vibration. So, for example, if your Rasi name is Ram, that Ra, the beginning, the syllable, the starting syllable of the name is where that charan lies, okay, where the beach lies. And that charan reveals a lot about your personal makeup. So the older heads would say, because that name is so sacred, it is supposed to be kept secret, meaning you only use it in rituals. Also, nowadays you can get when you use your Rasi name, it also empowers you, right? So it empowers what you do. However, if you have enemies and your enemies are very competent spiritually and they know what your Rasi name is, they can do some harm to you. Thank God, there are not much of those kind of people around in today's society, right? There will be those who will continue to try, but the caliber of practitioners that used to be 2 generations ago, they no longer exist. However, it is not something to be played around with. Your Rasi name is supposed to be used on with all auspicious occasions. You can include it in your birth paper if you want, as like a middle name, but it's not something that you go about advertising. This is my Rasi name. Because even with a bad intention, just as how the concept of najar, somebody could look at you with hate and malice and you could get what we call bad eye or najar, somebody taking your name and cursing you and wishing you bad, bringing negative energy to you can also hamper you to some extent. With that, if they do that with your Rasi name. They may not be doing any rites or rituals, but those are the type of people you usually feel very heavy around and you really don't want to be around them when if they're that of that nature. Okay, so your Rasi name is supposed to be confidential, but it is also supposed to be used by you personally when you go to do your business. That is why it is important. Like when you're going to, let us say, you're going to do something very formal, sign an important document, you could include it there because the energy will be transmitted to whatever you want to get success in. Children writing exams, they can use it as a middle name for that very important milestone in their life. But on an everyday basis, you don't call somebody by a Rasi name. You call them by a calling name or whatever other name you may wish to address them by. But you try to reserve your Rasi name for official use and for spiritual use only. So dear devotees, this brings us to another episode of Guru Vahini. We have looked at the Grahas, the 9 planets in detail, and we have looked at the concept of your Rasi name. We have looked at the concept of how the Grahas affect you. We have looked at the mechanism through which the Graha Puja work. Next week, we will wrap up this topic on Vedic astrology, where we will be looking at Mahurat astrology. Mahurat meaning the auspicious and inauspicious time to do different activities. So we look at things like children being born at a bad time, what to be done, doing important business like building a home, or building or buying a car, or starting a new business, doing certain sanskar like owing your heirs, or shaving the child head, how important timing of those events are. We'll also look at community astrology from a community point of view, where, for example, building a mandir or installing a murti in a mandir, how it can have a collective impact in the entire community if it is not done in the proper timing and so on. Okay, so we look at some community projects as it relates to Vedic astrology too. Prince Guru Sri Sadguru Nath Maharaj Ki Jai. So again, dear devotees, from whichever part of the world you are viewing us from, we do appreciate the time and the effort you have taken to join us in today's discussion. We do appreciate the feedback, the comments. We do appreciate the interaction you give us on a weekly basis. We do look forward to joining with you next week in this ongoing program, Guru Vahini, which is produced and sponsored by the Sri Parameshwari Durga Devi Ashram Incorporated. We are located at California Drive, Savannah Heights, Charleville, in Shimona's Trinidad, in the West Indies. Visit us online at www.sridurgamata.org. Those of you who are following us on Facebook, please like and share our videos. On YouTube, please subscribe to our channel, like and share our videos. So let us have our closing prayer. Mangalam Parameshwari Ma, Mangalam Ashito Shima, Mangalam Sarva Shakti Ma, Mangalam Durga Devi Ma, Tvameva Mata Chapita Tvameva, Tvameva Bandhu Chasaka Tvameva, Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva, Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Prince Guru Shri Sadguru Nath Maharaj Ki Jai. Jagadambika Durga Mata Ki Jai.